BREEAM is one of the few sustainability standards for built environment, together with probably the second most famous being LEED. But what differentiates BREEAM, it's very European-led, and it's known for being very scientifically proven or scientifically driven. So it's known to be scientifically superior to some of the other ones. What's really interesting about it is how holistic the approach of BREEAM is. It does not look at one aspect of built environment on its own. It looks at the picture surrounding the building, it looks at the people's comfort, it looks at the material, all the way through the whole life cycle of a building. Well, BREEAM is very different depending on which building type you take. There are different certification schemes for everything from a new build to refurbishment. So you can take almost any type of building. So it's aimed at any type of owner of the building. So that can be a private company, or it can be government in many cases for schools, or even some historical buildings where BREEAM is also used. So it is quite versatile, and it's constantly being updated with the latest science on various stages of that building. So it is quite, again, a holistic approach, and it uses the network of assessors. So they are trained assessors all around the world. It can be independent people who are trained, constantly upskilled in new science and built environments, and then they go through that with their clients throughout the building's life cycle. Unfortunately, it is voluntary scheme, so it is not in any government standard, which is what I know the team behind BREEAM is really keen to have more, that the BREEAM is more attached to the standards governed from the state level, and that way the buildings can be a lot better just through those more imposed standards. I think what I found most inspiring were actually the scientists behind working with every single data point that can make a building more energy efficient, more comfortable, better, and perform better as somewhere where we spend the vast majority of our time as occupants. And those scientists were so deeply passionate about the future of the planet that working with these people and constantly being surrounded by them is actually really inspiring for you. It rubs off, so you want to meet them, you want to learn more every day. There's something new and exciting, and also frustrating, because what I remember we found out is the government is slightly behind on their regulations, and that we always wish that the whole built environment sector was a little bit more regulated and also pushing to be more serious about climate change and more sustainable buildings. And it is, okay, partially it is about the comfort of the occupants, and there has been cases where the occupants started, they had really bad ventilation in their buildings. They can have really bad access to natural light, and that is just not good for your emotional or physical well-being. So that is one problem that I know several cases that we came across where the occupants sued the building owners for the level of discomfort that they caused because of that built environment and the lack of appreciation for what the building should do for the occupants. So that's one, but the comfort is not everything. It's also the performance of your asset, and it's also just the future of our planet. So all of this coming together is, I find, very exciting to be part of, and I would wish the government did more to push those types of standards as well, to make them more mandatory rather than voluntary. So as we know, the majority of emissions come from built environments. So what BREEAM addresses is partly the energy that comes from the buildings and trying to make buildings more energy efficient. But as I said before, it is a holistic approach. So for example, you can get extra credits if you're close to public transport, if your building is more accessible, if you contribute natural lights for the people's comfort, if that's an office building, for example. So it takes into account the comfort levels, the energy efficiency, the light, the technology used, the materials. It's really that big picture, which is why it's quite superior to other standards. And the building owners like it because they can get credits for something that makes their building more special for their specific occupants. So that is one way it definitely contributes, as it's not isolating just one element, it looks into the whole holistic picture. And it constantly, I think also worth mentioning, it is constantly updated within new science. Every year you have updates on the basis of new environmental product declarations that come out, new regulations that are being updated, the EU taxonomy that comes into play. It constantly works with those frameworks to get updated.